Welcome, everybody. We are back with another episode of A Snugpod Cast. Things are a little bit different today. We are missing one of our normal hosts. He is away accepting a reward or an award for violating the Green Pact. No arguments, none. I'm being completely lore friendly with that. And so I'm Never Separate. And I am joined with two of my usual hosts. To my right, your left on screen, I have a crazy person. Introduce yourself.
Gone crazy back soon. And, lore seeker, crazy person. Sometimes people call me Crazy Bacon. We just go with it.
And to my right on screen is our other host, Gwen.
Hello, I am Gwen the Bard.
And over to the far left on screen, we have a special guest with us today. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, thank you, Never. I'm Maneki Nekomata, aka Cat. Call me Cat. Just makes your life easier.
That's the first time I've heard you say your full name, and it just made me so happy.
An historic moment, as they say.
So, what do you normally play as far as your main?
Well, this is my main. This is Midnight Shaman-La. After having played ESO for about four and a half years now, I decided to go with something different because it seemed that a lot of tunes running around were Lord God, Master of Death, dressed all in black, very earth-toned, and that's how they want to run the character, that's fine. But I just wanted to do something a bit different. So Midnight Shaman-La here. She's a warden, DPS at the moment. Hope to branch out into tank as well.
Oh, branch out. Tree reference. See what you did there.
Yep. And since she has a La ending for Khajiit, that is indicative of a young female or someone who acts as a young female, and this is young. Shows you got the whole pink and white thing going. And I ended up with this look because it was the only one I could get that wide-eyed, innocent look. Just for some reason, the other fur patterns just didn't work. So, yeah, she has a sort of innocent outlook on life. Think like Evely, for instance. Of course, Evely has better writers.
I love it. I love the thought process behind all of it. That's awesome.
Thank you.
Fun. Well, all right. So we do apologize. We have started later tonight than usual. So if you were really looking forward to joining us and were thinking, man, where are they at? And just couldn't wait any longer and your eyes just fell asleep, it's okay. You can catch the recorded version on YouTube later, or podcast forms will be available as well. But we will go ahead and jump in. We've got some news. We've got the Hearts Day showcase, some mid-year mayhem, no longer called that, things to go over. So, Gone Crazy, is that yours? You going to cover that?
Sure, I'll take it from here. So like Never just mentioned, we have our Hearts Day furnishing pack, which is currently in the Crown store. It is 3,500 crowns, but it comes with quite a bit of furnishing items for your Hearts Day if you would like to decorate one of your homes in Tamriel. It says, set the scene properly for Hearts Day with this romantic furniture bundle, which includes flowers, sweet rolls, and more. Each item helps those so inclined fulfill on the day's delightful promise with their partners in the adventure called life. Mush.
Mush.
And if you miss it this year, you can always get it next year. This one seems to keep coming back.
Yep, this one's really... I actually do have this in my Sijic Villa, and it's actually a really pretty bundle. It comes with a plate of sweet rolls, and my favorite thing, the whole reason I bought it, is because it's one of the only furniture packs that I've seen that has like big bundles of candles. So normally in the furnishing items, I feel like it's just a couple candles, but this one has like a bunch of candles together, which is kind of cool because it does throw off quite a bit of light in your home in Tamriel. So that's pretty cool. Other quick things to note in the Crown Store showcase, your ESO Plus deal for this month, your free statuette is of Zenithar, God of Toil. It actually looks pretty cool. Nice little statuette there, kind of going along with all the statuettes that we've gotten in the past. There's also a cool Celestial Serpent skin. That one's been out for a little bit. We've got the usual stuff that's dealing with Whitestrake's Mayhem, which we'll talk about a little bit later, but there's a lot of cosmetics going on with that. There is a Celestrix Arms Pack for your outfit style and crafting needs, along with the Timbercrow Arms Pack, which, again, kind of ties hand in hand with the Whitestrake's Mayhem stuff, because it matches one of the outfits that you can pick up from doing things in Imperial City. That's pretty cool. Lombrus arm packs and a bunch of different wardrobe changes. Looks like there's some dresses. There's the riding outfit, Nibonese noble pack. But the ones that are really, I would say, to have note this month are, obviously we've got stuff coming up for the events. We also have a new music box, which again is one that keeps returning over and over again. It goes along with the Hearts Day stuff. Plays That Breezy Night in Bruma. And where is it? Oh, this is the one that I think people will probably be excited about because it was out pretty limited last year, but it looks like it's going to be about the same amount of time this year, and it's the Abner Tharn talking bust.
I'm so excited for that one. I'm getting it.
Yeah. So this one's only going to be out for about 4 days. It's going to be out from February 24th to February 28th. I've heard there are a lot of people that love having this in their home. So that's pretty cool. And the other big one to note is if you are a housing mancer, as they call it in ESO, the Lynchall Grand Manor is available again. So this is like a Nibonese style imperial home. It has big gardens and a reflecting pool, and it's a walled mansion. So it's a pretty neat home.
That's the one located in the Gold Coast, correct?
Yes, I do believe so.
All right. If you're looking for real estate in the Gold Coast.
Yeah, it's actually cool. It's one that I've seen a lot of people use it's kind of a big open courtyard in the center. So I've seen a lot of people do different things with it. I have seen people build entire other homes in the center of this particular house, which is pretty cool. Other home that is available for a limited time is Shalador's Shrouded Realm is returning. So that will be from February 24th through March 10th as well.
Is that one of the empty ones?
Yes, that's the one that kind of looks like...
it's the giant castle in like a purple realm. Everything is night in purple.
Okay, so it does have a structure in it. I'm thinking of the one that's in Cold Harbor.
Yeah, no, this one is like a Nord-style tower and kind of mountainy terrain in a purple sky.
Yeah, think of like an empty Merlin's tower, and then there's also some caves underneath. It's not just the tower.
Yeah.
But yeah, a lot of purple.
There's actually quite a lot of open space in that one as well. I mean, I don't remember if that is... Do you remember if that's a large home, Gwen, or if that's the, like the medium size? Not, you know what I'm saying? Not the, like, big ones, but the one that's one step down from that?
I don't know. I don't remember either.
There's also some...
You could definitely fit a lot in it.
Yes. Yeah, for sure. There's also some new mounts, or mounts that are returning. You've got a couple... You've got the Nibonese Stallion. You've got a wolf from Evermore, which is pretty cool. And then another horse, which is like a war horse. It's a siege war horse, which looks pretty neat. And there's a few pets as well that are returning to the store. The one that I'll point out is the Great Danian Hound, because that one always reminds me of Rich Lambert's dogs, which I think is really, really cool. if you've ever watched any of his streams that he's done, you can see his dogs. And they're big puppers. So I'm looking through the pets here. I think that's just about it. Those are the things that are like the ones that pop out or jump out at me initially. So yeah, that is your Crown Store showcase essentially for right now.
So if you've got crowns stacking up from all your monthly subs or from sales we've had recently, sounds like there's some things you can go spend those on now.
For sure. And there's a lot of things that tie into mid-year, not mid-year mayhem, because now it's called White Strikes Mayhem.
What's your mayhem?
As Lotus used to call it, multiple year mayhem, beginning of year mayhem, all the different things that it's been called. But now they have officially changed the name to White Strikes Mayhem, which will begin on Thursday. So it starts Thursday, February 17th at 10 a.m., and it's going to run all the way through Tuesday, March 1st at 10 a.m. So yeah, I think Mid-Year Mayhem's fun. I'm not a PvPer, but I always love doing this event during this time of year. I don't mind going and, being murdered while trying to do dailies, I guess.
That's definitely what happens to me. If I end up anywhere near other players, I last about 4 seconds. And
well, I guess I'm just lucky.
I'm just lying on the ground.
Kind of excited, though, to use the armory and maybe make a PvP build that I can flip-flop back and forth between this time. So
yeah.
The reason I never change anything over is because I was always too lazy. But surprise, now I don't have an excuse to be lazy.
Nope.
So for White Strikes Mayhem, you can travel to your Alliance War Faction's main gate in Cyrodiil, and you can kick off the event there by talking to Predicant Mara to continue the quest that's there. The other thing, too, is you can also go in the Crown Store and get the details on the White Strikes Mayhem quest, which will allow you to start without actually traveling into Cyrodiil. If you've completed the quest previously, you don't have to do it again, but when you do complete the quest, you can receive your Scroll of Pelinal's Ferocity and a Pelinal Boon Box. So the scroll will give you a 2-hour 100% buff in the Alliance War, as well as the Imperial City and Battlegrounds to your Alliance points gained, and XP gains for PvP player kills. So, hop in a Zerg, run around, do as much damage as you can and get that AP while you can.
Actually pay attention to yours in the chat.
Yeah, that's true. A lot of times I feel like during this event, it's pretty easy to just tag in with a group, even if you don't actually group with them. I mean, that makes it a little hard to know.
Oh yeah, you can just run around with people. You can always just
run around and catch up with people, which is cool.
Yep.
Things that you can earn from this event that are brand new, there are 2 new sets of, there's 1 new set of style pages and a new set of body and face markings that are the Black Drake clan wrap style. So, looking at the picture, it looks kind of like, it's got a skull piece for the head, and it's got these, weird epaulets with claws on them. Lots of horns and leather and bone pieces, it looks like. So, pretty cool new style page. The other thing, too, is it's like a skirt. So it's like a skirt and some boots. And the epaulets and the top are smaller, I guess you could say. So for people that like those kind of 2-piece outfits, it's definitely more in that style. Let's see what else. We also have the Legion 0 pages that are returning, and you can obviously earn different things from getting different achievements throughout the PvP stuff that you can do during the event. You also will earn the Pelinal's Boon Boxes as you do dailies and PvP daily quests from Battlegrounds or from scouting boards. Pretty much anything that you do in the PvP area will earn you one of these, which can net you soul gems and Telvar and all sorts of different things. You can get furnishings from them, siege weapons, pretty cool stuff. Even transmutes, which is awesome.
Yeah, transmutes are definitely a bonus to taking part in this event.
For sure. The
Every
other thing that's
transmute is precious.
Yes.
every transmute is precious. And other things that are precious are you get the Cyrodiil merchant, Adzabi, who's the golden merchant. They're going to update the stock to contain legendary quality Alliance War jewelry. So during this event, you'll have necklaces during the first weekend and rings during the second weekend. Yeah. The other thing is you'll be able to earn tickets, obviously, with this event. So you can work towards that Soulfire Dragon Illusion pet if you don't have it, or if you don't have the Scales of Akatosh skin and you'd like to work towards that this time, you can finish that off as well. Because if you do all of your tickets, there's 2 tickets that come from a Cyrodiil or a Battleground quest every day, and 1 ticket from the Imperial City. If you do all of your tickets throughout this entire event, you can earn 39 event tickets.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
you can go from 0 to cap 3 times plus.
Yes. So that is a lot. Just make sure that you're not accidentally getting over your 12 limit ticket cap, because you can only hold 12 at a time, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you just have to make sure you're spending them as you're earning them.
And if I may, the quick tip for those of us that are not the best in PvP and want to go do the Battlegrounds daily, if you haven't done one for the day, you can reject, or not reject, but you can delete the quest once you've picked it up until you get the one that you want. There's the quest for contributing to your team, 10,000 points or something like that, and you just go into a battleground and defend points and just lay suppressing fire down on everybody. Just try to get assists and kills and defend a point, attack a point, and usually within a game or 2 you can have those 10,000 points, where the other option is win 3 battlegrounds, for example.
You don't want to participate in 5 battleground matches a day?
Well, you can do that if you want. I'm just saying, if you're looking for the easier method, generally speaking, the contribution to your team is the easiest one to knock out without having to spend too much time on it.
What other mayhem tips do we have?
My other mayhem tip, really quick, because I know that I think Kat wants to share a couple mayhem tips as well, but one of them is preload these quests. So you can actually go in and preload one of each quest. You just do it and you don't turn it in, like the day or the night before. Or if you're big into Imperial City, you can do each like area in Imperial City, preload the quest, and then just don't turn them in. And that way you just turn it in day of, once the event starts each day, and you'll get your tickets that way without actually having to do any work. You also can preload stuff and then turn it in and then do it again, right? Because you preloaded it, and that gives you double the boxes.
That's absolutely genius.
Yeah. So that's what I typically do, is I typically preload one, and then I'm always one ahead. And then if I feel like doing an extra daily each day, you essentially can, because you've got the one preloaded from the day before.
So if you have like one day that you can get everything ready, but you know you're going to be busy a couple days of the event, you can just have stuff ready, so you only have to like log in for 5 minutes to make sure you're getting your tickets each day.
Correct answer. Yep,
Great planning.
Best thing ever. So, Kat, I know you mentioned some PvP info earlier too. What could you share with us about White Stripes?
Yes. Well, I would like to claim first I'm an incredible PvP expert because I have the trifecta going. I have been dropped by random people, I have been dropped by former emperors and empresses, and I even got dropped by an emperor once. So I have a great deal of experience with that, with PvP.
Love that.
I do have a couple of potions that I came across that looked interesting. One is Essence of Immobility. Become immune to knockback and disabling effects. Vanish. Restore health immediately. And grants major fortitude, which increases your health recovery. Now, what's the need for that is the reagent of your choice, and then Blue Entoloma, Columbine, and Namira's Rot. The other one is Essence of Invisibility. That only gives you 2, but it does let you vanish, and it grants Major Expedition. So that's another useful one to have. This one is Blessed Thistle, Blue Entoloma, and Namira's Rot. And that's it.
Love it. Thanks for that.
Good. Not being hunted.
Got a little alchemy lesson while we were sitting here in the snug pod. Guess that's the next station we'll have to add.
Yes.
Does it count at the coffee bar? We could probably make that at the coffee bar, right?
I don't see any reason why not. Just add it to your coffee.
Ooh.
Ooh, you know what?
That
That would actually fit in nice by the coffee bar.
That would be pretty crazy to have all of what Kat just told us about in a cup of coffee.
Wouldn't
I would be PvPing till my heart's content all through the night. Oh, man.
All right. So that is the news, right?
Yeah, that's it.
All right. Gwen, you want to take it from here? Got a little article to read?
I will. All right. So this week, we're still prepping for our new DLC dungeon release, and I thought it would be absolutely great to cover some of the characters that we're going to run into. However, so did Zos, and the way they present their the character is so much more fun. So we're going to read that instead. What I am talking about is the article on Meet the Character Jakarn. So we're going to read through a letter that is sent by Sabanet Maeve, ambassador to the Court of Wayrest, to Lady Arabelle. Let's get started. I was delighted to hear from you as always. You write with the same wit and charm you always have, and whilst reading your letter, I found myself blushing despite myself. But that is neither here nor there. You did not write me solely to make me squirm in my seat. You need aid, and I happen to have just the man for the job. His name is Jakarn. He's a Breton, resourceful, talented with a blade, not too hard on the eyes either. But let me be clear, the man is a scoundrel. Though I know you've always had a fondness for scoundrels, a woman as intelligent and competent as you is better suited not employing them. I can honestly say that if it were not for the specifics of the job that needs doing, he would be the last man I suggest to you. Why, you may ask? Plainly put, he is a thief who fancies himself an irresistible romantic. In my experience, that combination is usually the most insufferable. Though Jakarn certainly has enough admirers following him around at every point to follow through with such claims, it doesn't make his bravado any more palpable. I say this because he has won such admirers through over-bloated stories of his heroism and upbringing. He's fashioned so many tales about himself that it's rather hard to tell where they end and where the real man behind the farce begins. I'm not entirely clear on what it is he does. Smuggling, piracy, general thievery. He's dabbled in it all. He spent some time in Stros Mackay, in a prison cell I heard, and afterward became part of the privateer's crew, Captain Colleen's crew to be exact. Though I hear she's reformed these days. I'm sure I don't need to tell you the kind of unsavory business Jakarn was likely up to while in her employ. I know he spent some time elsewhere recently as well, and apparently had some nasty business stealing a priceless gem, something that seems to be a bit of a habit of his, so keep a close eye on your valuables. Now, I say all this only to give you a complete picture of the man. To do otherwise would be a disservice to you. That, and within 2 minutes speaking with him, you would discover most of these things for yourself anyway, and turn him away. So as much as it pains me to sing Khan's praises and risk inflating his ego even further, I want to stress to you why I think he is the perfect man for the job. Despite his many, many flaws, Jakarn is a man who gets things done. His life of distasteful activity has granted him a wealth of contacts, favors, and friends that he may call upon at any moment. Granted, not all these resources think favorably of him, but that is Jakarn's way. Somehow, despite his nature, he inspires loyalty enough that both his enemies and his friends will heed his call. Perhaps it is merely unspoken allegiances between scoundrels, or perhaps Jakarn's charm does him more service than one would think. Either way, he is a man who is exceedingly well-connected. He is someone who has operated as a thief long enough to know how to get things passed through hands unseen. He also knows how to operate with discretion and understands the value of gold more than the average man. He also happens to be smart enough to know not to ask too many questions, though he may be a tad unprincipled for your taste. I think it is this quality in particular that makes him well suited for the role. You do not need a well-to-do hero for this endeavor. While your mission's goal is heroic, you know as well as I do the real world sometimes requires us to get our hands dirty. Jakar is someone who will gladly get his hands dirty in your stead and ensure success. In this matter of yours, that determines the fate of the Alliance and possibly all of Tamriel. I can recommend no one better. He will test your patience, of course, but I know a woman of your caliber can handle him. Yours truly, Sabernet Maeve, Ambassador of Court Raywurst. Alright, there we have it. That definitely sums up Jakarn very well.
Flirty, dashing, adventurous.
Makes you want to roll your eyes.
Devilishly charming. They should include him in the Heartstay pack.
Wasn't he in a Smolder Scrolls a few years ago? Or am I thinking of Darian? I might be thinking of Darian.
I think I recall that being Darian.
Yeah, Jakarn doesn't have the loaf of bread. That's Darian. So
all Bretons are the same.
I think that I was just gonna say. I think they're probably pretty close to each other.
But thankfully, not all Bretons are like Jakarn. And that brings us to why Kat is here today. She had a Breton-related little book that she wanted to read for us.
Thank you very much for the invite. Okay, I just wanted to start off with clarifying a couple of terms. You'll come across the word beetle, not the little insect, but according to Merriam-Webster, a minor parish official whose duties include ushering and preserving order at services and sometimes civil functions. Now, mind you, that's the real-world definition. Probably sounds like it's pretty close to what you would find in ESO. And as far as parish, that is, also according to Merriam-Webster, the ecclesiastical unit of the area committed to one pastor and or the residents of such an area. So if you hear the term beetle in here, not Beetlejuice, not six-legged insect, it's an office title.
Just don't use that name 2 more times.
Good idea. And here we have The Martyrdom of St. Pellin by Priestess Adi Rudeau. Welcome, young ones. As a subject of my annual children's sermon, I have chosen The Martyrdom of St. Pellin. Now, I know you have probably heard this story already, but in this time of trouble, I think it is good to revisit the tales of our ancestors so we may draw strength and lessons from them. Now, St. Pellin lived back in the early part of the First Era, when the world was stranger than today. At that time, Tamriel was largely untamed, and our ancestors had to be strong and brave, for the woods and hills were homes of things like bullmen and centaurs and fire serpents. St. Pellin wasn't a saint at first, of course. He was a humble man, a beadle at the chapel of Stendar at the Bankerai garrison, where he tended to the spiritual needs of the soldiers guarding the walls. He had other tasks as well, such as bringing the sentries water when the sun was high. One day, as he carried around his bucket dipper, he noticed there were more guards than usual. He stopped at the main gate and asked his friend, Sergeant Clancy, why that was. "It is because the Grey Host is coming," said Clancy, "which is a terrible army of vampires from Burkharth, and I'm more than a little worried about it." "Oh my," said Pellin. "Is there anything I can do to help you and the other soldiers?" "Pray for us, Pellin," said Clancy, "for a great trial is upon us." Sergeant Clancy's word made Pellin anxious, so when he was done with his chores, he climbed a tall tower and looked south. And there he saw the Grey Host coming out of the desert, a whole army of batmen, wolves, and even worse things. So Pellin went back to the chapel to pray, and as he heard the sounds of battle, he prayed to Stendar, to Akatosh, to Julianos, to Kinnereth, and to all their saints for help. But then folk began to come into the chapel, setting up cots and tables and bringing in wounded soldiers for aid and surgery. "Come and help us, Beetle," called the doctor. "It's your strong arms that we need now, not your prayers." So Pelin came and looked at the wounded soldiers and found them wondrous pale. "What has happened to them, doctor?" he asked. "These soldiers are as white as the sheets of my bed." "It's the Batmen, Beetle," the doctor said. "When they bite our soldiers, they drain the blood from them in great draughts, leaving them pale and empty." "Horror!" cried Pelin. "You're right, doctor. This is time for more than prayers. For Stendar says, 'He who fights hardest prays loudest.' I know nothing of fighting or of doctoring, but I will go to the battle and trust Stendar to show me what to do." So Pelin ran to the fighting at the top of the great gate, where he found his friend, Sergeant Clancy, fighting a Batman. The vampire beat at the sergeant with his wings and tried to grip him so as to bite, but Pelin grasped the Batman by the legs, so Clancy was able to kill it with his sword. "This is no place for you," the sergeant cried. "The Batmen are at the gate, and soon they will burst it open and take the garrison." Pelin looked down and saw that what the sergeant said was true. A great press of Batmen was ramming against the gates, and the doors were bulging inward. Pelin cried, "Is there nothing we can do?" "The stone wall here has been loosened by flying stones," said the sergeant. "I had hoped to gather enough soldiers to push it down upon the Batmen. See, reinforcements are coming. The Grey host will be through the gates before they can get here." "Then I must delay them," said Pelin, and he flung himself from the battlements and upon the horde of vampires. The wings of the Batman broke Pelin's fall, and he landed among them hale and alive. "Vampires!" cried Pelin. "Push not upon the gate, for what you want is here, a strong, healthy body full of fresh, warm blood. Take, drink." And the Grey host turned as one and fell upon Pelin, fastening upon his veins. Then Pelin felt himself collapsing like a wine sack at a harvest festival, and knew that before the sergeant could gather enough soldiers, he would be drained dry. So he prayed a mighty prayer, saying, "O Stendar, God of justice, fill me with an ocean of blood that I might beguile these demons away from the gate but a few minutes more." And then Pelin felt himself filled anew with blood, flowing from him in a very fountain, and the divine guise of gore threw every Batman within sight into a great feeding mound before the gate. Meanwhile, Sergeant Clancy and his friends pushed against the wall above, until all of a sudden, great stones went crashing down. The Batmen were nearly all slain, and by the time the ones who weren't had gathered their wits, they saw that the pursuing legions of Empress Hestra were almost upon them, and that was the end of the Grey host. So that is how a beetle from Bankerai Garrison became a saint. Now I ask you, children, does not our time resemble that of St. Pelin? Is there not, once again, an army at our gates? Yes, indeed. And that's why our leaders ask each and every one of us to do as much as we can to help defend our homeland. Some of us may even have to give our lives. So when the time comes, tell yourself that you, too, have the strength to do what's needed. For I think, if we have to, we can all be as strong as a humble man like Pelin. Don't you? And the end.
Wow.
That was a good book.
That was so
I,
good,
I
Cat.
thank you. I
Yeah.
read it and it's like this is a guy who knows he's going to die and he went and did it anyway.
Yeah, that was awesome. Thanks.
Thank you.
Only we could all be so brave charging into Cyrodiil.
If anybody does not have that book in their collection yet, it's located 3 places. 2 of them are in Evermore. One is Evermore Castle in Evermore Bankerai. The other is on a bench on the 2nd floor of Anchor's Point Inn in Evermore. And the last one is Pelin Graveyard in Bankerai.
Wow.
So the thing that one of the things that kind of stands out to me going through that is the section where it says that Pelin felt himself filled anew with blood flowing from him in a very mountain, and you think you're almost dead, and then you just get a bunch more blood.
That was Divine's intervention. Yes.
That is gnarly.
It reminds me of Blood Fountain, like the skill in game. Like that's kind of what, like the visual almost that I got from that. I know it's not the same, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's pretty gnarly. It also kind of sounds like this is just someone telling a story to a bunch of kids, right?
That was the intent. Yes.
So did this really happen, or is this just like motivational story to, for the...
Yes, this is alleged to have really happened, and in fact, if you're around the Evermore area, there are some quests that will have you involved with the Knights of St. Pellinor.
Yeah, that's cool.
Super cool. Yeah, if you peruse the UESP or the Imperial Library at all, and you type in like St. Pelin or just Pelin, or even search for this lore book's name, you'll get all sorts of links to lore that tell you about the knights that Kat's talking about, and obviously there would be minor spoilers in there if you've not done some of that quest stuff, but I feel bad because I know when I did base game, I was trying to keep up with some other friends that were going through at the same time as me, and I know a lot of this stuff I unfortunately probably didn't really absorb to the extent that I wanted to originally. So, it's a good refresher if you've done it, going back and looking at UESP or Imperial Library and kind of reading through that stuff again. It's pretty cool.
One of the things about this game is, even if you tried to absorb it all, there's so much lore to this game. Trying to keep up with all of that from years ago that you've, haven't gone and done recently. It's a lot to try to keep up with.
If you look at the lore library in game, it says there are 5,370 things to memorize.
Yeah.
So.
And that's just lore books and stuff, right?
No, that's everything. That's everything you can memorize under lore library. So that's including your outfit motif books and stuff. But those, even if you actually read the motif books, have a bit of lore about the different races and stuff as you read through them. So yeah.
But what I'm saying is that's not taking into account all of the different things you get just by doing the quests. All of that information as well.
That's true.
Yeah.
The quests, yep.
That's
it doesn't
so
include
much.
your antiquities either.
Oh, yep.
Because the antiquities have the codexes, so if you ever get anything that relates to, let's just use this as an example, Pelin in the future, you might get 3 or 5 codex pieces as well from that. You never know. So, it's pretty cool stuff.
That is a lot of information.
Yeah. But Kat, I'm so glad that you came forward and brought that to our attention, and since we've been talking about Bretons, and such a great lore book to read, and thank you for coming and actually joining us and reading it. That's so cool to have you here in game with us and be on the podcast. Thank you.
It really is. Thank you for joining us.
Well, thank you very much for the invite. I really want to do it because this is the first guild I've been in ESO, and the guild has done a lot for me, and I figured this is a way I can give something back.
Absolutely. And speaking of guilds, if anyone is on PlayStation, well, for that matter, if you're on any platform, we do have a guild. It's the Lore Seekers Guild, and if you have any interest in joining with us in game, we're all on PlayStation, PlayStation NA, and you can. But if you want to join Lore Seekers on PC or Xbox, NAEU, we have guild for every one of those. You can go to loreseekerseso.org, and there is thank you. There's a link that says apply in Discord, and go there, fill out the brief application. It doesn't take but just a few minutes, a couple of questions, just to tell us a little bit about yourself, so we get an idea if you're a good fit. And we have some awesome people that review those and get those turned around pretty quick. And then we'll get you an invite sent in game, and you can join up and actually get to play right alongside us. And just like Kat did tonight, there may be an opportunity if you have something you want to share. If you've got a lore book that ties into maybe some current discussion, upcoming chapters, things like that, then you can reach out, and we might, have you come join us at the table as well. So there's plenty of opportunities for that. We actually want to get our community involved, so that this becomes more than just about the four of us that normally host. It's about growing the community and giving people a place to come and hang out.
Yeah, and just to tag on to that really quick too, if there's an idea that you have for something that you would love to hear in an audio format or see in a video format with us, whether it be the four of us or the four of us and someone else, or you, whoever's listening, who got the idea and you want to join us, send us a message that way too, because we'd love to hear your thoughts. And if you're in our PlayStation community or in our Discord community, feel free to post it in the general chat, and we'll kind of bounce it around and see where things go.
Yep. If you want to reach out to us, you can find us on the Tweetergrams. That is at Snugpod Cast. It's Twitter for anybody that didn't catch. I was making a joke there. But you can catch us at Snugpod Cast. We are also available in audio format, and on YouTube, twitch.tv/A Snugpodcast. But our audio format is available through Apple, Google, Spotify, Stitcher, and at least one or two others that I've seen have scraped our information over into their podcast servers too. So you can check us out on all those different platforms, whatever works best for you. And yeah, so also I have a note here. We would love to see if you've got your own Snugpod, and if you've decorated and would like to share that, you can tag us on Twitter with that, and share with us what you've done with your Snug podcast. Maybe see if we have some, if you can give us some ideas we might incorporate. As you've heard, we're already upgrading our coffee bar, and and if you've got a lore book you are interested in, share that with us. We might check that out, read that, maybe have you on to read like we said before. Do we have anything else?
I think that's just about it. Kat, do you have any last minute things you want to wrap up, or anything you want to say before we officially end the audio portion of the podcast?
Well, I just wanted to say thank you again for the invite. I really appreciate it.
Oh, we really appreciate it. Thanks for coming on, and we will maybe have you back on again sometime.
Yeah, for sure.
Just not Dwemer phone book, for the love of the divines, not the Dwemer phone book.
Is there a Dwemer phone book? Because I tried to find it for you, and I couldn't locate it.
Uh-oh, I got booted. I don't think so.
The Breton who's not here for violating the Green Pact. Cat. Not you, Cat, but that cat. Khajiit and Wood Elves and all sorts of things like that. There's a whole war started over that.
Hey, you should be careful picking on this Khajiit. He's super meta.
Mm-hmm. All right, friends. Well, thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time on the podcast.
Thank you very much, guys. Have a good night.